fought in the Civil War?
I don't know.
Do you know how many continents there are?
No.
How many states make up the United States?
How many states make? Dude, I know this.
You know this.
That dude. That's crazy. I don't want to do this to this.
Say a number. Say a number.
I don't know.
No, you do know this. You do know this.
We're going to devote our energies to sports and gardening, all the cultural pursuits as far as they're concerned. In fact, we're going to put the goons to sleep. Meanwhile, we dig.
Greetings, this is Byrne, and welcome to the Anadromous. I'm coming to you on a nice overcast day here in Tbilisi, Georgia, where the weather is still warm, but it is certainly no longer oppressive, and the evenings are getting cool, almost autumnal. Well, what I want to do today is something I don't really want to do, is talk about stupidity, but I am being forced to because it seems like we are becoming stupider. Now, I'm speaking as an American for Americans. I think something similar is happening in other places. I'm living in Georgia, the country, not the United States state. But I also notice some of the same trends here, though certainly not in any degree that I see back in my own country. What do I mean? Well, you may remember, if you go back into the recesses of the internet, maybe about 10, 15, even 20 years ago, people were passing around a sheet of paper, or rather something found on the internet that was about the 8th grade class of Salina, Kansas in 1895. Now, you may have seen something similar about something in Dubuque, Iowa in 1915 or something like this, but whatever it was could you answer these questions? And of course, you probably felt kind of stupid because you couldn't. Now, this was an 8th grade class being given some of the following questions. Give 9 rules for the use of capital letters. I'm sure you're already out of competition right there. How many people, with our internet, spell checks and everything, how many people even know the rules for capital letters? This is a simple one. What is punctuation? Give rules for principal marks of punctuation. That shouldn't be too hard, or is it? What's LOL? Find the cost of 6,720 pounds of coal at $6 per ton. Find the bank discount on $300 for 90 days, no grace period, at 10%. U.S. history. Give the epochs into which U.S. history is divided. This is amazing. I wish people knew this today. They don't think about things like that. And I will prove that in a very short amount of time here. This is from Kansas. Tell us what you can of the history of Kansas. Or let's say the history of wherever you're living right now. Name events connected with the following dates. Well, forget that. 1607, 1620, 1800, 1849, and 1865. People today know very few dates. And a lot of it comes from people saying, why did we need to know dates of anything? Here's a mysterious one. What are the elementary sounds? What are elementary sounds? How are they classified? What is climate? Upon what does climate depend? Name and locate the principal trade centers of the United States. Why is the Atlantic coast colder than the Pacific in the same latitude? Now, one could argue that there is no reason for us to learn these kinds of facts anymore because we live in a world where everyone needs to use the computer. We need to learn more about, I don't know, what do we need to learn more about? Diversity, equity, inclusion? Is that more important than geography? Some people would say yes. Other people might argue, but wait a minute. We need to know something about the world. But let's say, okay, times have changed. We don't need to learn the same kinds of facts that the 8th grade class in Salina, Kansas did in 1895. But what about the videos? You remember these came out about 4 or 5 years ago that would show like university students asked what was the capital of Canada and getting really puzzling answers.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know. Probably Vancouver or something.
I don't know. Alberta? That's not right. I have no idea.
Oh my god. I don't know. Wait, that's really bad. That's really bad that I don't know.
Is it Toronto?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Canada.
Ontario.
Is it Quebec?
Ontario. Oh my god. Vancouver? I'm debating Toronto.
Ottawa.
Are you Canadian?
Yeah.
Now these are university students. They should know something. They should know, the capital of Mexico is Mexico City, the capital of Canada is Ottawa. They're our nearest neighbors. But what happens when we move that up a little bit and just ask basic geography questions? Now I know, Americans are pitiful when it comes to knowing world geography, and there's really no excuse for this.
You know that what two countries border the U.S.?
You said what two countries what?
Border?
Mexico? I don't fucking know. Mexico and, I don't know. I forgot.
Yes. Can you name 3 countries besides the USA?
I suck at history. I was like my worst subject. Can we do like science?
No. Any three, you know this.
A country? Oh my jeez, this is terrible. Oh my god. A country. What, besides the US?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Alright, it's fine.
I can't do history, I can't.
Can you name 3 countries besides the USA? Any 3, you know this.
Canada? New Mexico? Right? That's good?
Yeah.
Damn, I need one more. Damn.
Yeah, so you got Canada, New Mexico, and what?
Damn. I need to go back to school.
But the reason for it has to do with the fact that America is really big and we don't really travel. And for instance, I don't remember the exact statistic, but it's way over 50% of Americans do not have a passport, which means they're not going anywhere but America. Next, I think of those that do, a good majority of those people have never traveled to any place that wasn't Canada or Mexico, which means that we'll just say roughly a quarter of Americans who do have a passport. I think it's a lot less than that, but the Americans that do have a passport constitute a real minority of people who never travel.
What's the religion of Israel?
Israeli. Muslim.
Islamic.
Catholic, probably.
What religion are Buddhist monks?
Buddhist monks.
Buddhist monk.
Islamic, I don't know.
Who won the Vietnam War?
We did.
And who was,
Wait, were we even in the Vietnam War? Okay, good.
who was Fidel Castro?
A singer?
How many sides does a triangle have?
Damn, 4.
There's no sides. 1.
What is the currency used in the United Kingdom?
What's the currency in the United Kingdom?
What is it? In the United Kingdom, I don't know.
Possibly American money.
Queen Elizabeth's money? That's all I know.
Who fought in World War I?
George Washington.
Who fought in World War I?
England.
Against?
The United States.
Who is the first president?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Who is the first president?
George W. Bush first.
What are Hiroshima and Nagasaki famous for?
What is it, judo wrestling?
How many Eiffel Towers are there in Paris?
I'd say about 10.
Who fought in the Cold War?
Not sure.
What is a mosque?
Don't have any idea.
You want to guess?
An animal.
Who fought in World War II?
Is that Vietnam?
Who fought in the Civil War?
Not sure.
Do you think that we should have fought in World War II? And World War I?
Honestly, I don't believe in war, period.
Who was the first man on the moon?
John Glenn.
Armstrong walked on the moon, but I think it was a Russian. I'm not sure.
Well, I gotta tell you, some people don't believe that happened. They believe that was reincarnated in Arizona somewhere.
Someone once said that Americans, if you ask them about, what was it? What's going on in Europe? I mean, George W. Bush once famously confused Slovenia with Slovakia, which I suppose is an honest mistake. They both start off Slov, whatever. But if you ask the average American about world politics and what's going on in different countries, the average American knows more about the Kingdom of Westeros or what's happening with the Kardashians than they do about real life, real world politics and geography.
Do you know who fought in the Civil War?
Who fought in the Civil War? Like from the president?
No, like who against who?
It was the Nazis versus Germany. No. Yes. No. I'm gonna say yes, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. You actually just guessed that?
Nah, yeah. I'm kind of smart.
You didn't know that? Oh. Did they teach you that in school or what?
They taught me it, but I just guessed it now, but
Yeah, so
it's like I forgot, but
yeah,
I mean,
it was probably in the back of your head and like it came up.
yeah.
How many Kardashian sisters can you name?
Kendall Jenner, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kourtney Kardashian. Is that all? That's all.
Yeah, that's all of them for sure.
Smart.
Yeah, dude, you're a genius.
And at this moment, we are hearing news about a rather large event, a rather threatening event happening in Ukraine, that Russia has invaded Ukraine. But here's the question. Even after that, do Americans know where Ukraine actually is?
But where is Ukraine on a map?
Right here? It's just like over here somewhere. And then like there's Ukraine. I don't know. That's why I'm like low-key confused why they're attacking them.
Right here.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so where's Russia?
Right here.
Where is Ukraine on a map? Can you find it? Right there? So where's Russia? Right there?
Oh, this is you got me. You got me. Oh damn.
That's Ukraine? So where's Russia? That's Russia?
I don't fucking know.
Right there, that's Ukraine? Where's Russia?
Russia is, I don't know.
Now, of course, I am sure that there were plenty of people who could answer the question who did not make it into the video. And this is true with all of these videos. When you see videos of people who can't answer questions, there were probably people who came up instantly and said Ottawa, or said, yeah, it's next to Belarus, under, it's below Belarus, next to Russia, and below it is the Black Sea, and could give a quick response. Those people aren't interesting to talk to. But nevertheless, right now, people in America are supposed to have an opinion about the war between the U.S. and Ukraine. Yet, I really do believe most people have never even thought about Ukraine prior to this. And that includes most of the YouTube commentators who have very strong political opinions. It's not to say they're on the same level as the person who's never thought about Ukraine, but it's amazing how quickly people suddenly have an opinion on something, that suddenly it's like one of these games where you drop marbles in and they slot down. Every bit of news that happens suddenly is supposed to drop down into your particular political slot based on the propaganda you consume. So within a couple of days, I noticed that the Americans had already divided off into various slots. One side mindlessly wearing Ukrainian flags, putting Ukrainian flags on everything, and the other side saying, we don't want a nuclear war with Russia, and we should just broker for peace now. And it just immediately just dropped down like that, as if it was that simple. Now, I'm someone who is part Ukrainian. I am also someone who's been involved reading Russian literature since I think I started reading Solzhenitsyn in 1975. And I've read Dostoevsky and Vladimir Solovyov and Nikolai Berdyaev. I've read a great deal of Soviet history, Russian history. I have a very good idea of the geopolitics of the area. I'm living in Georgia right now, which had a war with Russia in 2008. People here have very strong opinions about Russia. It's their next door neighbor. I've been up to the border of Russia once, the same border right now where people are lined up to get in, to get out of the draft, the mobilization that Putin has called for. I've heard a lot of different opinions about many aspects of people's relationship to Russia and Ukraine. I am not naive on the subject. There are people I do trust and people I don't. And I don't trust people who 5 minutes earlier had no opinion and then suddenly have put all their money down on a certain opinion, simply because these people don't really know anything, even if they act like they do. So I find that is itself a kind of stupidity. It's an educated incapacity. It is an over-propagandized sort of mentality that immediately has to have an opinion on everything that happens because it's going to break down into our side or theirs, or within our side, various factions of our side, etc. Nevertheless, we are now at an entirely new level of stupidity. What do I mean? Ask yourself this question. How many moons are there? Yeah, it's a simple question. It's got a simple answer. That's the answer. There is a channel called Fleckus Talks. Sends this guy with a kind of a deadpan face around. He often spends time in Times Square, and he asks people the simplest questions. And I've watched a few of their videos that they put out on the subject. And he actually asks mostly younger people, though not exclusively, very simple questions like, what is the country to the north and south of America? How many moons are there? Simple math questions like, what's 3 times 3 times 3? Things you should be able to do in just like that. Now, I'm just going to play you some of these, then I'll come back and talk about them.
How many moons does the Earth have?
6.
Yes. Do you know what 2 countries border the U.S.?
Nah, I don't.
Like touch the U.S., above us and below us? Take a guess, some countries.
Countries?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I don't even know my countries.
Do you know what century we're in?
20th.
Wait. I don't know.
Yes. What country is Mount Rushmore in?
Russia.
Yes. Can you name one country in Asia?
Tokyo.
What's 3 times 3 times 3?
3 times 3 times 3? 9 times 3. But I don't know. I ain't gonna lie, I'm retarded.
Yeah, take a guess, a number.
Like 36?
Yes. Do you know who fought in the Civil War?
Who fought in the Civil War?
Yeah.
It was us against the Soviets.
Yes. What's 3 times 3 times 3?
12.
Yes. You know how many states make up the United States?
50.
You know what the capital is?
Of
United States?
Harrisburg. Oh, is there a capital in the U.S.?
Who fought in the Civil War?
The Civil War? Wasn't it? What's his name? Kennedy? Kennedy's?
Yeah, Kennedy against who?
I don't.
Do you know what the capital of the United States is?
No.
You know what 3 times 3 times 3 is?
No.
Yes, you do, man. Take a guess.
Can I think about it?
Yeah, go ahead. How many make up 1 dozen?
How many make up 1 dozen? How many what?
Like how many eggs are in 1 dozen?
10.
How long is 1 decade?
1 decade. No idea.
Do you know who the president was before Trump?
No.
Who's the
Again, the principle is this. I am sure this guy talked to people who, when asked how many moons are there, they just said 1. When asked who fought in the American Civil War, they simply said the North and the South. Who asked, where is the Panama Canal, said Panama. 3 times 3 times 3, 27. So, but they didn't show those people because, those people aren't interesting. It is interesting that anyone on Earth wouldn't know how many moons there are. That's what's interesting. It's interesting that any American doesn't know the country above or below America. That's what's interesting. That anyone would be that stupid. And the expressions on the faces of these younger people, they would mostly be Gen Z, and in fact that's how they label these videos. It's usually Gen Z doesn't know anything. And the question is, why do they not seem to know much of anything? Here's my answer. And you may have some other thoughts. You can put those down below in the comments. But here's my conclusion. We are all stupid about something. You're stupid about what you don't know about. So, for instance, let's say you want to buy a new air conditioner. What do you know about air conditioners right now? I mean, unless you're working housing, or let's say you want to get a new central heating system for your house. What do you know about that? Unless you work in construction, and even then, unless you work specifically with installation of heating or air conditioning, you probably don't know much. So, you'll do a bit of research. You'll go online. What's the best air conditioner? What's the best central heating system? You'll do a little bit of comparison. The more obsessive will do a lot more comparison. But even you, really, even if you're one of those people who do a bit of research, you still won't know. And when you walk in to the place that sells these things, the people who work there will see you coming. And they'll simply say, yeah, we've got this one over here we need to sell. This person looks like the person to buy it. They've been sitting on the shelf too long. They need that. Now, a good salesperson will tell you, oh, yeah, or this might be better for your house. And it serves them right to try to get as close as possible to your needs. But nevertheless, the same would be true as if you're buying a washing machine or buying a new car. What do you know about automobiles? Really? And this is why used car salespeople, usually salesmen, will be able to sell you almost anything, is because they see you coming. They follow the P.T. Barnum slogan, never smarten up, never give a sucker an even break, never smarten up a chump, which means never tell the stupid person exactly what's going on. And the chump is the person who will fall for anything. Don't smarten them up. Don't make them more intelligent than they need to be. Because you want to sell something to them, and it's easier if they're stupid. And we're all stupid under certain conditions. I used to work in a store buying and selling used record collections, but I worked about 15 hours in this one independent store. But I also worked in a large record store, and I could always tell within seconds when a person walked in if they knew anything about music or not. First of all, anyone who hands you a list saying, can you find these for me? I just read these great interviews in the New York Times. You go like, no, they don't. They're an amateur. They don't know anything. Someone comes in and they want some album, this is, not interesting music at all. Whatever it is, the person working with those things daily knows the difference. You don't. So they would consider you stupid. In New York City, I used to have a manager who would always walk up to me when customers were getting really crazy. This was in this very large music store, and he would say, the customer is always and you're expecting him to say in the right, because that's what the American mantra is. The customer is always in the right. Well, you say that so you can keep selling things to people, but my boss was a little more honest, my manager. He said, the customer is always in the way. And there's a certain amount of truth to that.
Mooney P, it's almost impossible to find, especially on CD. Yet another cruel trick played on all the dumbasses who got rid of their turntables. But every other Echo and the Bunnymen album... Yeah, I have all the other ones. Oh, you do? Well, how about the Jesus and Mary chant? Yeah, they always seemed what? They always seemed really great is what they always seemed. They picked up where your precious Echo left off, and you're sitting around complaining about no more Echo albums. I can't believe you don't own this fucking record. That's insane. Jesus.
So, here's the problem. We've gotten to the point where people know a lot less about reality because they are focused on their screens. They're focused on their phone. They're focused on the notification they're getting. They're focused on the chat. They're focused on the fact, there's an event happening in Indonesia right now where 135 people just got killed. They're focusing on a massacre in Thailand. They're focused on something Donald Trump said. They're focusing on Joe Biden kind of mumbling and wandering off the stage. They're focusing on the Kardashians. They're focusing on the love or hate for a certain franchise entertainment. They're micro-focused on these things. None of these things, with the exception perhaps, and I say perhaps, of what the presidents and such are doing, but even then, these people are like that themselves. They're focused on this stuff, which is why they don't seem to understand much about reality either. We are all focused on these things, And this leads us towards stupidity. Because, and I think, see, for me, I'm 67 years old, I confess. Interestingly enough, in Georgia, people think I'm like 50, because I guess I haven't been smoking and drinking seriously all my life or something. But what it is that we, from my age, remember a time before the devices. People in their 40s remember a time before the devices, but people under 30 do not. So their world is not this stuff, but littler things, the smartphones, which someone, thank you, Peter from the Netherlands, gave me one. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to use it. But they see that as their window into the world. But it's a very poor window. Everything comes to you randomly through this window. So you don't have a sense of geography looking through this window, because this window doesn't show you the world. I've learned, for instance, in Georgia here, if I want someone to come deliver me some object too big for me to carry from a store, if I tell them the actual address of my apartment, they can't find it. Why? Because my apartment isn't actually on the street, which is a very busy street you wouldn't want to stop at. It is around the corner on another street. And I tell them this very specifically. And then they call up and say, they find someone to speak English and say, can you just tell us the address? And I said, I have, but you need to look at a map. It's around the corner. Now, they have an app with a map on it. But what they're looking for is the little red pin. And the little red pin does not show my actual real world residence. So now I just give them another address entirely. That's not far from me, but at least they're on the right side of life. I don't have to, one time, because of the way the streets are here, it took them 45 minutes to go around the block. It's just, but what it is, that they don't know how to look at maps. I'm serious. The way we locate things now, with the map and the pin off of Google or some other app, the GPS coordinates and all of this, has created stupidity. So that people can't use maps. They don't know how to look up something in the index of the map, find the name, locate the name. You can do this quickly. I can do it on Google in seconds. And yet these people can't do it because they're looking only for the pin and the directions. They need a navigator. They can no longer navigate. That is the problem we are facing. And this isn't just happening to people delivering things here in Georgia. This is happening to everyone who relies on the devices we have. They no longer know the real world. Which then means it's really scary when you get these people worked up about anything. If you get them worked up with a social contagion, whether that's a protest of a new movement, their identities. Where are they getting their identities from? Same source. They're not getting their identities from reality. They're getting their identities from chats online. Other people who no longer look at the real world. It's the same with who to vote for, what you think is happening in the elections. It's the same with pollution. You want people to clean up the world? Well, a social contagion for a movement isn't going to do it. People, if they don't actually see the real world.
Oh no. Oh, this is a problem question.
Well, I guess it depends how you identify. It can mean whatever you want. I know for some people it means sensitivity or softness, but for some people it means having really good fashion.
A woman is someone who identifies in a feminine way.
Someone who has identified as one.
A woman is the opposite of a man?
I've grown up believing that it is someone who's born with a vagina and the ability to give birth and everything, but apparently in this day and age things have changed, so I don't really know anymore, to be fair with you.
The question is how to see the real world. Now, here's a question. Do people today actually need to know these things? Maybe we've outgrown our relationship to the world. I mean, yeah, there's the pollution issue, but maybe, some Zuckerberg-ish, Bezos, Musk type figure will figure out how to clean it up without our input. And we can go ahead and keep just chatting to each other. Have we evolved beyond the point of needing to know physical reality? Maybe all we really need to know is how to use smartphones and apps. And eventually someone's going to want to insert these into us, and that'll save a lot of problems. And you'll need to know how to get to the repair center to fix things. But, we use computers in our work. The person working down at McDonald's is using a computer to do almost everything. Maybe we don't need to know these things. I would, of course, say we do. But we'll leave that discussion there. What do you think? Do you think we've evolved beyond the point of needing to know, basic math? The location of countries near your own? How to have human relationships in a real-world environment? How to take care of dogs and cats? Should we even have dogs and cats? But then again, if everything becomes abstract and virtual, what is the point of human life? These are some pleasant thoughts to think of. Meanwhile, much more coming up on the channel. We've got, I'm going to do the one on fantasy and, it's going to be called Fairy Tales Are Not Cute. Coming up very soon. And that's going to be a prelude, more of an addendum to the coming The Cute and the Creepy series. So look out for that. And then, what else? Check out my other channels, particularly Georgian Crossroads. I've been putting new things up there every week that I had scheduled for a while. Trips into local villages and such, complete with musings that might interest you. Philosophical, sociological, artistic, creative musings. You could help out the channel. Subscribe, like it. Contribute. Keep in mind, I do not make any money from YouTube. So I am dependent upon your kindness. Interestingly enough, it seems like the last 6-7 months there's been a major change in the YouTube algorithms, and this whole shorts sickness has kind of taken over. And I would say you should try to get those off your computer as much as possible. Just mark hide on them. Try to get them off. Try to show YouTube we really don't want them as part of our life, because they really are just mental cholesterol, kind of clogging up our communication arteries. But like I say, I don't actually make much doing this. I do need help, so if you feel like contributing, do that. If you don't. Just share this or don't share this. It doesn't matter. Comment though. Leave a comment if you wish. Thanks for popping in and listening to a little bit. And we will see you soon. As they say in Georgia here, droebit means temporary. Just in a little while, we will meet again.
A people without history is not redeemed from time. For history is a pattern of timeless moments.
Who fought in the Civil War?
As in, like, shooting range or like fighting? Shooting range. The army and wait, what you mean? The first Civil War, second, third? Well, you never know. So like, which one are you talking about?
The Civil War.
Alright. If you want to get technical, I think it was the Iraq. U.S. against the Iraq, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. What's 7 times 3?
Why are you doing this to me? Why do I have to go through this?
No, around what is that? Yes.
125.
Say again, I'm sorry.
105, I guess.
Yes. What's 3 times 3 times 3?
3 times 3
Why are you screaming?
times 3. 3, 6, 9.
If you were born 10 years ago, how old would you be today?
13.
10 years ago. So if you were born in 2012, how old would you be?
13.
Yes.